wanaharakati wa haki za binadamu, ikiwemo shutuma za mauaji ya mfungwa.
Duncan Haemba anampiga kurunzi afisa huyo katika ripoti yetu Funguzi jioni hii.
Ndiye huyu afisa katili mwenye hasira na shambulizi dhidi ya wapiga picha wa runinga za NTV, Citizen na KTN na pia mpiga picha wa gazeti. Wanahabari hao walikuwa juu ya gari wakinakili matukio mbashara yakichipuka. Yamkini afisa huyo ni polisi wa utawala kutoka kituo cha Kamkunji na ni mmoja wa walinzi wa kamanda wa ngazi. Uchunguzi zaidi unafichua kwamba kwa sasa afisa huyo ana kesi ya
Amnesty International in Nairobi where it is, and no one has reached to us and they try to invite us to the office and they get our cards. So
the second county government actually we petitioned them. Remember, some of us were arrested, we intimidated, but that didn't.
Sorry, okay. One word before I respond.
Okay.
Yeah.
corruption, at least, that's something. Now I think they have been bringing, they have been trying to in our continent and in Kenya. So my question is,
known as violence against women and girls. Now, one of the groups, they just cut electricity from any part of Wajir. We wrote to them, we gave them. At least before start, then you have to figure out how you can navigate or how you can go around those challenges. And my view, the politicians, they don't like.
I think wanapitia a lot of challenges to work as journalists. And this, you might think ni shida wanahabari, but ni shida yetu sisi wote kama wa Kenya. For instance, if journalists cannot be able to freely work as journalists, report freely, it means us as citizens of Kenya will be in the dark. It means it will be very difficult for also us to hold our nation or our government, our public officials to account, because we will be operating in darkness. So that's the reason why we are here in Wajir, to just share from each other on why press freedom is important and why our right to know is also crucial to our democracy and the enjoyment of human rights.
A nation that is afraid to let its people judge the truth and falsehood in an open market is a nation. Press freedom ideally means ability for media to report on events and issues without fear.
It's very unfortunate as a country, because the same constitution that gave us the freedom of press is the one which is guarding us against the freedom. So one, when you see that video, it is very clear that still we don't have freedom of the press. That's not been granted by the constitution. Though it is in paperwork, but in terms of implementation, it has not been implemented. So what we want is, can we grant freedom of the press as per the Constitution of Kenya? And we should not gang up or gang against the journalists who are covering either government demonstration or opposition demonstration. Because currently we are no longer safe. As much as we want to feed the public with the news, as much as the public is really waiting for the media to cover what is going on in the country, it is not safe for the journalists to go to cover any demonstration in this country. Therefore, it is upon all stakeholders to implement the Constitution in terms of freedom of the press. Thank you.
Especially the young men and the active and the passionate lady, our manager, Halima. What I want to say is access to information is almost impossible in Wajir. And I think we tried all avenues. Even this morning, there's the issue of, I think, government to put in one person in the office, but again, on top of that person, there's someone oversighting him or her. And then without the consent of the governor, I want to be specific and I don't want to be quoted even. That will not work. Because you take a petition to someone, or maybe you are taking a court order to someone in an office, and the office is not a vacuum. Office is occupied by an officer. If it's alive, then there's nothing to report. And I'm asking the journalists, their life come first, no matter the situation.
Kill the message, because we have seen the message. The message is there on our front. So we are watching what is happening in terms of this freedom. On the other hand, also is a very important issue that I want to bring to attention. That also this also what is called a mitigational measure. Mitigational measure, where sometimes back Amida Council was offering that. It is called safety and security. In this part of Wajir and the wider Nordistan, we are also always having threats, not only threats from the authorities, but we can also have other threats. So having safety and security training sponsored by Amnesty is very important. Bringing here, because the council were doing, but they were not considering journalists from this side.
Stephen, Ayan?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, this is Samuel. I was just saying that, that video that has just been played, we just looked at it a few weeks ago.
Yes, thank you very much for this session. I'm from Wajir. I think you have some people from Wajir at the meeting.
Yes, we are live in Wajir, so we have a room full of Wajir people.
So that people at the meeting will know, will verify that I'm from Wajir. I have to tell them that I am from Bulahad and I have joined, I've been a member of Amnesty. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I think
I'm hearing some echo, some noise.
Yeah, we're trying to mute.
So I am a member for Amnesty for the third year now. The reason I've joined is because I have been doing a lot of petitions.
You can, we can't see your face.
To see the power you. Don't see my face?
Yes, we can't see. Everyone wants to see you.
I have to switch on my camera.
Yes.
I'm in a vehicle, don't be surprised.
Thanks so much.
Okay. So I think you can see me now.
Yes, we can see you clearly. Okay, carry on.
I'm not.
So proceed.
Yeah. So I have been a member for Amnesty for 3 years almost 3 years before becoming a board member. And I joined Amnesty because I'm doing a lot of petitions. I started with Kenya Power Lighting. They used to cut people's power without notification, without anything, and we had to do a lot of petitions. If you look for my social media, I'll share Facebook, you can scroll down and see those petitions. And then we also petitioned the immigration. They used to do illegal and discriminatory interviews for Muslims, and we petitioned against that in social media. And we used to do a lot of similar petitions, and I was looking at myself and was saying, like, am I a lone ranger? And that's how I looked for a family to join. And Amnesty becomes the family. I became a member of Amnesty, and then I became a member for Amnesty, and now I'm a board member. And I'm so glad that this is a membership organization. These other NGOs, this is a very different organization. It is an organization of comrades, people who have the same vision, who want to cause disturbance and bring about change. And that's what we are doing. And now you have seen my posts on the recent killings in Wajir, where 3 young men were imprisoned, 2 by Kenya Wildlife Services on suspicion of poaching, and another one in families. And it has to start from there. And you know, the media people in Wajir are also doing great work. They have been covering the demonstrations, and they have been covering police brutality. So it starts with you as a citizen knowing your rights, right to information, right to service, right to know how the government officials and politicians are spending your money. They are supposed to be transparent, by the way.
That is there in these counties that there are a lot of news, something that make news or make the news heads, or can even initiate the journalist to do his work more better than where he is today. If at all they are for it. But it's very unfortunate that it's very hard to get a leader, maybe an MP or a governor or a senator or a woman representative sitting in their offices to serve the electorates. If I'm wrong, you'll tell me I'm wrong. They only came to this county when they have dignitaries visiting the county, only, mostly. The only time they come, maybe a governor, may she be a woman rep, MP or a senator. The only time you'll find them in this county is whenever a dignitary from the national government or from outside international communities is coming to this county is when you get them. So what I ask myself is, how comes these guys represent the majority who elected them? They have offices in Nairobi. How the Mama Boga and Sukumjinga and that mother who sells milk in stage grift to access these baggers? It's very unfortunate. Besides that, they said this money vile tumesema hii pesa inakuja ndani yetu. You will not get the innovative journalists that go after these guys, asking them about what to say the monies. Pesa yetu kama pesa uma imeenda wapi? Knocking their doors. It came common to maybe most of the Kenyan journalists that we run after politicians wherever they go, and we give them preference or we give them tunapatia hao muhimu kuliko wale ambao waandika kazi. Journalists akaenda kuingia choo kule, unasikia iko kwa media, like let people handle matters and children die. It will not have that privilege on labda wakati wawili tu ndio wanaenda. So until we have the notion, we journalists, we get that notion of having our people and our country first than these looters and criminals, we will not get what we want and not reach what we need. When we get journalists who are open, who are innovative, who can hold these guys accountable and who are transparent themselves and not favoring the regime in place, maybe the county or the national, that is the time even the community will stand up and say, no, these are people who represent us, they are voices and they talk for us.
A simple man said, the governor, by then the current governor was the first governor of Wajir, if you remember. He said when he was looking for votes, he came to my house, I gave him a plastic chair, but today accessing his office, I tell him. That is something an officer should not even take time or even think about it. But what happened? Media, it was raided. That was an order given. That clip, they went for that clip, and when we tried to investigate, we just saw that clip was issued and has nothing. The guy was, handcuffed. The security guard was also handcuffed. The communication director was using police officers. And when the radio was, when the community radio reported, and we condemned, because I'm a board member of Wajir Community Radio, we condemned that act. That clip was never aired. Truth be told. What does that show you? There's something wrong. I want to ask my brothers and sisters that yes, sometimes intimidation happens, but sometimes your conscience to guide you. There's something principle. And I'm also requesting the media personnel, the young men who are seated in front of, to protect, to support each other, to look the back, to support when their colleagues are intimidated or attacked. Let them stand in solidarity with them. The other issue is, governor can use a divide and rule. The current government can design divide rule to make sure actually the person who's actually, I think there's some program you come to government, some journalists are not allowed. In Wajir, they are not allowed actually to air. I can remember one of the victims was my brother, my colleague chairman of Wajir Climate Change, yes. They were not allowed. The question is why? And when we give our answers, everything is done. Which myself, I'm not most of the time. If I say something, I want that thing to be released. Or you give me 2 minutes. Then you say me, Fatuma, speak of the 2 minutes you had, not more. So that what I said is captured completely. But when you edit it, And some words I said, and then you remove, and then you put something. You edit it, and then you remove some words I mentioned, and then you bring it together. Instead of the 2 minutes, you make it 1 minute, and then that goes. The only thing I'm asking my brothers is, government comes and goes, but there's still that's not going. The community of Wajir. Maybe we die tomorrow, some of us may not be there for the next election, God knows. The next time we don't know when we're going to be ending. But the question I'm asking is, how safe even are the journalists as the messenger? The messenger, sometimes don't think of the messenger. Maybe I'm not liked by many, as Fatuma. But the message I'm giving is for the interest of the community. I know maybe some journalists won't like what I say. But don't forget of Fatuma. Just think of that message that I'm giving. What am I saying? We are saying that information you give, you feed to them. They are the backbone of the society, whereby every day people listen to Wajir FM, people listen to community radio. Go to the page of Kulam Post, whatever, Wajir community radio. You go and watch, and what are you looking for? Information. But when you don't give that information because of a self-interest, or sometimes you fear, if somebody could have died today, this young lady, I admire Halima. Not being her board member, no, but this girl was even, has been tested severally. Her life has been put in place, but she never mentioned in the social media, she never complained, she made sure she stood on her foot. We know some few others are the same. No, I'm not condemning journalists, I'm not condemning any journalist. What I'm saying is what I've encountered as an activist. We encounter every day. The same we're getting from the police, when you get the report, sometimes you are told we are not covering that report. You see? So the question we're asking, if the intimidation is coming from the county government, if these young boys who are actually jobless, are journalists, are doing a freelancing, they're giving the communities free services, and they're not accommodated because of funny thing, because they said something about the county government, because they said something about the national government, because they said something about a politician,